Marcus Johnson stared at the email glowing on his computer screen. We regret to inform you that your position at Nexa Robotics has been terminated, effective immediately. For a moment, the words didn't make sense. Marcus had spent 12 years at the company. He had designed their most successful production system, worked countless nights, and sacrificed weekends to keep the factory running. Now, with a single email, it was all over. Marcus leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. Across his desk sat a framed photo of his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Since his wife had passed away 3 years earlier, Marcus had raised Lily alone. Every school lunch, every bedtime story, every scraped knee, he had handled it all himself while balancing a demanding engineering career. And now he had no job. The reason for his dismissal was even more painful. Earlier that morning, CEO Richard Coleman had introduced the company's newest star engineer, Ethan Walker, a young graduate from an elite university. Fresh talent is the future, Richard had announced in front of the entire engineering department. We need modern minds to take us to the next level. Marcus remembered the awkward silence that followed. By noon, security escorted him out of the building. As he carried a cardboard box filled with personal belongings to his old pickup truck, Ethan caught up to him. Marcus, I'm sorry, Ethan said quietly. Marcus forced a smile. It's not your fault. Ethan hesitated. They think I can improve the Titan system. Marcus looked back at the massive factory behind him. The Titan system. The machine that had transformed Nexa Robotics into a billion-dollar company. The machine Marcus himself had secretly designed from scratch. Officially, company records credited an entire team. Unofficially, everyone who worked there knew Marcus had spent years building the core technology. But executives never paid attention to the people behind the scenes. As Marcus drove home, Lily opened the front door before he could even park. Dad! She ran into his arms. You're home early. Marcus smiled, hiding his pain. Yeah, kiddo. Did you fix all the robots today? He paused. Not today. That evening, after Lily fell asleep, Marcus sat at the kitchen table, calculating expenses. Rent. Food. School supplies. Electricity. His savings would last maybe 4 months. For the first time in years, fear settled into his heart. Meanwhile, chaos erupted at Nexa Robotics. Without Marcus, the Titan production system began malfunctioning. Conveyor belts stopped unexpectedly. Robotic arms froze in place. Error messages spread across control screens. Richard Coleman stormed into the engineering department. What's happening? Ethan stared nervously at his monitor. I don't understand. The system architecture is far more complex than the documentation suggests. Richard frowned. You're supposed to be our expert. Ethan swallowed hard. I graduated at the top of my class, but whoever built this system created layers of custom code that nobody understands. Production stopped for 6 hours. The company lost millions. The next morning, Richard called an emergency meeting. We need solutions. An older engineer finally spoke. Sir, there's something you should know. Richard crossed his arms. What? The Titan system wasn't built by a team. The room fell silent. It was Marcus. Richard laughed. That's impossible. It's true, the engineer replied. Marcus designed the control algorithms, safety protocols, and predictive maintenance system. Most of us only assisted. Richard's face turned pale. You expect me to believe one man built all this? Yes. For the first time, Richard realized the magnitude of his mistake. Meanwhile, Marcus spent his days searching for jobs and helping Lily with homework. One afternoon, Lily found him fixing an old radio in the garage. "Dad, why don't you build your own robots?" Marcus laughed. "Starting a company isn't easy." Lily shrugged. "You build giant machines. How hard can it be?" Marcus smiled at his daughter's confidence. Children had a way of making impossible things seem simple. 3 days later, Richard Coleman appeared at Marcus's front door. Marcus opened it, surprised. "Mr. Coleman." Richard removed his expensive sunglasses. "We need to talk." Marcus stepped outside. Richard cleared his throat. "I made a mistake." Marcus said nothing. "The company needs you back." Marcus folded his arms. "You fired me." "I know. You replaced me with someone you thought looked better on paper." Richard lowered his eyes. "I'm offering double your salary." Marcus thought about the sleepless nights he'd spent at the factory. The birthdays he had missed. The sacrifices nobody noticed. Then he thought about Lily. "Dad." She ran outside holding a drawing. Richard smiled awkwardly. "Who's this?" Lily proudly showed him the picture. "It's my dad. He's a superhero engineer." Marcus laughed softly. Richard stared at the drawing. For the first time, he saw Marcus not as an employee, but as a father carrying responsibilities nobody in the office understood. "I'm sorry," Richard said quietly. Marcus looked at Lily's drawing. Then he shook his head. "No." Richard blinked. "No? I gave 12 years to your company. I built machines that made millions, and you threw me away because you believed someone else's resume mattered more than experience and loyalty." Richard stood speechless. "What are you going to do?" he finally asked. Marcus smiled. "I'm going to build something for myself." Over the next few months, Marcus transformed his garage into a workshop. Friends from Nexa Robotics joined him after work. Ethan was the first to arrive. "I want to learn from the person who actually built Titan," he admitted. Marcus welcomed him. Together, they created Johnson Automation, a small engineering company focused on smarter, safer manufacturing systems. Business was slow at first. But word spread. Factories impressed by Marcus's reputation began signing contracts. Within 2 years, Johnson Automation employed 50 people. Marcus made sure every employee felt respected. Flexible schedules for parents. Fair salaries. Mentorship programs. No one was judged by age, background, or appearance. One afternoon, Marcus received an invitation to speak at an engineering conference. As he walked onto the stage, he noticed Richard Coleman sitting in the audience. The former CEO looked older. Nexa Robotics had never fully recovered. Marcus smiled politely and began his speech. "The greatest machines in the world aren't built by technology alone. They're built by people. And when companies forget the value of those people, they lose far more than employees, they lose the knowledge, passion, and heart that made success possible." The audience erupted in applause. In the front row, Lily cheered louder than anyone. That night, as Marcus tucked her into bed, she asked, "Dad, are you still sad about losing your old job?" Marcus thought for a moment. "No." "Why?" He smiled. "Because sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the reason something better begins." Lily yawned. "You're still my superhero engineer." Marcus kissed her forehead. "And you'll always be my greatest invention." Outside, the lights of his workshop glowed in the distance, a reminder that talent, dedication, and love can never truly be fired.